So here we are at the end of September, the beginning of October, and I want to ask you a question. How many times lately have you said the words business planning? This is Tad Fulford with Rise Up in Real Estate, and I want to challenge you today to say these words more. I'm going to life plan more than I'm just going to business plan. And here's what I mean. So many times, be honest with yourself. When we walk into this time of year, the fourth quarter, we're always thinking about let's plan business for next year. A lot of times what we do is we say, I'm going to do a little bit better. I'm going to increase things by 10 or 15 or 20%. And then you just work a little bit harder. You try to be a little bit more efficient. You may add some programs to your thing, but you're not really planning, in my opinion, the way that you need to plan. In my opinion, we all need to take a few minutes to sit down by ourselves in quiet with a pad and paper and pencil, and we need to say, this is the life that I want to live. And more specifically, I want it to look like this amount of money and this amount of time. I'm gonna give you 5 things today that you can do in order to business plan your life first. What you need to ask yourself, and you got to do this in quiet, and it's not easy. You need to ask yourself, number 1, how much money do I need to live the life that I want to live? We call it entrepreneur's mantra. It's not acceptable for us to make less than this amount of money. And here's how you come to that amount. You got bills, right? Add up all the bills, right? You've got expenses, just lots of expenses. Add them all up. Here's a lump sum. You've got income too, right? And you're going to subtract that income from those amount of bills. You got to at least pay your bills. Here's what I want you to do. On top of that amount of money that you need to pay your bills, I want you to dream a little bit and figure out what things other than that do you want to do with money that you're going to make. For example, do you want a vacation? Do you want to give money to charity? Do you want to pay off a college fund? I don't know. Do you want to pay off a car? Do you want to pay your house down? There's lots of things that you can want to do, but dream. Do you want to buy a car that you have always wanted? Dream a little bit. Add that to that amount of money that you need and make a lump sum and say, okay, here's the amount of money. Now you have a significant other that might contribute to that, or you got money that you get from your stocks, or you got rental properties. Then you got to start subtracting the income that you already make outside of your real estate business. Subtract that from what you need to live the life that you want to live. And then you end up with a number, right? How much money do I need? The second thing you need to ask yourself is, how much time do I need? How much time am I going to work next year? How many days a week? How many hours a day? And be realistic with yourself. Like, pick numbers that you know are true. Analyze your past history and what you normally like to do. You plan your life. Don't let the reverse happen. Figure out you're not going to work on Fridays and don't work on Fridays. Figure out you're going to work harder on Mondays and Wednesdays and less on Tuesdays, Thursdays, whatever it looks like. Figure out the amount of money that you need to make, right, to live the life you want to live. And then how much time you want in order to enjoy the money that you've made. Start with that. That's your life, right? Don't just say, I'm going to reach a club level, or I'm going to beat so-and-so, or I'm going to be number 1. Don't only say that, because I want your amount of money and the amount of time to equal the life that you want to live at the end of the day. Plan your life, not just your business. Second thing you need to do once you've got this amount of money, you've got this amount of time, is figure out what it is, and you should know this off the top of your head. What does an average closing pay you? And what's your compensation split with the office that you're in? Like, do you have a transaction fee? Do you have a monetary split? Do you pay a monthly fee? Whatever it is, figure out what you are going to actually put in your bank account, if you look at it that way, that's going to add towards that income that you need to live the life that you want to live. What's the average per closing? I'm sure you can know where I'm headed with this, right? After you've figured that amount out, once you know what it is, you know your total, and you know what 1 equals. Now you subtract the total amount by what 1 equals. If you want to make $100,000 and every closing is $10,000, how many do you need? You need 10, right? So you need 10 closings. Now you know how many days you're going to work. You already determined that when you're planning the life that you want to live. Now don't go back and change this unless your goals are too lofty and now you know you need to work a little bit more and you want to add in some more hours. But take the hours that you're going to work and the amount of money that you need to make, and you know what closings cost, and start talking about number 4, your daily activities. This is where you really got to get granular and you really got to analyze. But don't you see how nice it is now when you start talking about these things, is that they are adding to a lifestyle. They're adding to a life that you get to live, not a business that you have to do. So you need to know things about you, like how many times when I sit down at a listing appointment, how many times do I get that listing? What percentage is that? How many phone calls do I need to make for someone to answer the phone? How many people do I need to talk to on the phone in order for someone to commit to an appointment with me? How many appointments do I need to go to in order to get a conversion to a buyer or a seller. You need to know all of these figures. Now, you might not know those about yourself. You can Google, there are national statistics and national averages for each of these things, and you plug those in. You know how much money you need to make. You know how many days you're going to work, right? So now you can figure out by simple math what your daily activities need to be. One of my favorite books of all time is Darren Hardy's Compound Effect. If you read that book, it just says the compounding effect of small activities done on a consistent basis will equal big results in the long term. And this is what I'm talking about now. If you know daily you're going to work X number of hours and you need to do these activities, now you can time block. Now you can plug things on your calendar that you can do. And now you're working a plan that allows you to live the life that you want to live. Final thing that you need to do in the middle of all of this is you need to monitor it continually. You need to figure out how often you're going to check in with yourself and say, hey, how am I doing on my goals? Like if I've got a 12-month goal, how am I doing after 1 month? Am I 100% on target? Am I 80% on target? And I'm challenging you in order to monitor these things so that you chase shiny objects or change your activities. Most of the time, this is accountability that you get for yourself and myself on how you are doing with your activities. Are you committed enough to the things that you said you were going to do? That's what the daily monitoring is going to help you analyze is, are you on task? Now, if you do a task on a regular basis, you're super committed and you're being honest with yourself, and it is something that you know you've done what you should do and it's not working, then you begin to search for other things. But in most cases, it's the effort, not the activity. And you need to make sure that you're doing enough effort for the activity. So these are things that you can do. But I want to encourage you really strongly, make sure you're doing it from your life perspective. Make sure you are picking the life. We have the ability, the luxury, pick the life that you want to live and then back the business into that. If you'd like to talk further about this is my passion. I would love to talk to you about it. This is Tad Fulford with Rise Up in Real Estate, and I hope this video helps you rise up.